Hey guys, welcome back. So this is our next question from Leetcode SQL 50. Question number 1251, average selling price. So here's the question. We have two tables, prices and units sold. And prices table has these four columns. So you have the product ID, start, end date, and the price. And then product ID, start date, end date is the primary key. For the table, each of this table indicates the price of the product ID in the period from start date to end date. For each product ID, there will be no two overlapping periods. So I'll explain to you in a little bit as well. And then you have the unit sold table where you have the product ID, purchase date, and the units. So here's the question. Write a solution to find the average selling price for each product. Average price should be rounded to 2 decimal places. Return the results at result table in any order. And here's an example. So here's the prices table, and you have the product ID, start, end date, and the price. And remember, you cannot have overlapping periods for the same product ID. So let's say for product ID 1, from 217 through 228, the price was $5. And then from 3/1 through 3/22, it was $20. So, inflation, it just quadrupled. And remember, it said like you cannot have two overlapping periods for the same product ID, meaning you cannot have $5 from 217 to 228, and let's say from 220 through 228 you have $20. It doesn't make sense. It can only be one value. That's what it meant in the question earlier. And in the units sold table, you have the product ID, the purchase date, and the units. So here you have product ID 1 and then the purchase price. So on 225, 100 units were sold. So the price on 225 is going to be this because 225 is in this period, so it's going to be $5. And then on 3/1, 15 units were sold, so the price was $20 in this period. So 3/1 is valid in this period. So the average price would be 100 units were sold between this period, so the price was 5. So it should be 100 times 5 plus 15 times 20 divided by the total units sold, so it'll be 100 plus 15, so 115. I hope that makes sense. So I'm gonna come back to SQL Server Management Studio, and what I've done here again is I've created those tables again so I can demonstrate step by step how we solve this issue. And I'm gonna leave the question on the right so you can see. Okay, so I'm just gonna start writing my script here. So I'm gonna do select all from prices, and I'm just gonna call it P. I'm gonna give it an alias, and then I'm gonna left join it with the unit sold table. The reason I'm doing a left join, not an inner join, is what if there is a product in the prices table which hasn't been sold, so we still want to see the average selling prices like 0 versus not being able to show anything, because if you do an inner join it won't show. I'll explain it to you later. So I'm gonna do left join unit sold, and I'm gonna call it U, and then I am gonna join it on the product ID equals u.product ID. Now what I'm gonna do here is I am gonna also join on the periods here. So if I just run it as is, I'm gonna show you like what I mean. It's gonna show me all the prices as well. So it's not gonna just bound it to that period. So here I'm gonna, for example, for 225, I'm gonna see 100 units were sold at this price, and then again 100 units were sold at 20. But this is only valid in this period. So between 217 and 228, 225 is only valid here. So this shouldn't show up. So this period shouldn't be there. So we have to exclude this. So what I can say for that is, and purchase date between start date and end date. So I get the correct period. So if I run it now, okay, much better. So here I see 225, the price was 5, and see it 225 is valid in this period. Similarly 3/1 is valid in this period because we have this additional condition in the join. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave it as is, and I'm just going to copy in so we can just compare it with the original one. So let me just drag it here, and then I'm just going to comment these two out for now. And here I'm just going to start writing our final script here. So I have to select our product ID, and product ID is in both the tables, but I'm going to select it from the prices table because a product can be in the price table, it's always going to be there. But what if no units were sold? So I cannot grab it from the unit sold table, so I'm just going to grab it from the prices table. So I'm gonna say p.product ID. Okay, and now I'm gonna find the total cost. So the total cost is just price time units. So this is our total cost, and then I am gonna divide it by the total number of units. So I'm gonna just sum the units here, and this also I'm gonna sum. So the sum of the total price divided by the sum of the units, so that's gonna give me the average price. And I think we have all what we need here, and then I'm just gonna group it by the product ID because we are using aggregates here. Let me execute it now. So here I'm seeing the correct value that we expected, so 6.956 and 16.95, and we have to round it to 2 decimal places. So I am gonna just do a round function here. So I'm gonna do round, and then I'm gonna say 2 decimal places. So it should become 6.96 instead of 6.956. Let me execute it now. Yeah, so we are getting the correct value. And finally, so what if we have a product in the prices table but no units have been sold? So let me just actually, to demonstrate this, I'm just going to insert another value in the prices table. So I'm going to insert into our prices table, and I'm going to insert so my prices table, let me just select what is there currently. Okay, so I'm gonna insert a product ID 3, and then I'm just gonna copy these dates here, so it's valid from these dates. I'm just demonstrating like why we need to consider this as well. So these are the dates, and the price, I'm just gonna give it any price. So let's say if it's $50. So let me run this. So my prices table has this additional row, but remember in our unit sold table, we don't have any sold for that product ID. So if I just run my query as this, you see I'm seeing a null here, but I want to see a 0 here. So I can use this function called is null. So if this is null, I'm just gonna return 0 here. So if it's null, it's gonna show a 0, and we have to call this column average price. Okay, let me execute it now. Okay, so we have the product ID and the average price. So for product ID 1 is 6.96, for 2 is 16.96, and for 3 is 0. So it is showing a 0 value, which is what we want. So that's why, and that's why I didn't use an inner join, because see, this product is in the prices table, but it's not in the unit sold table. If I just use an inner join, it would just completely skip that product ID 3. That's why I used a left join. And also, the reason why I grabbed the product ID from the prices table is because in this case, this is in the prices table, but no units were sold. So if I just grabbed it from the units sold table, it's actually not going to show a product ID for that. So let me execute it now. Okay, now we have everything we need. So I'm just going to copy this. So I'm going to come back to our Leetcode, and I'm going to run this. Wrong answer. Let's see what it is. So output is 616, and it should be 6.96. We did use a round function. Okay, so what we can do for this is sometimes it does not keep those decimals in SQL Server. So I'm just gonna multiply this by 1.00 to force it to show like decimals. So let me run this again. Ran successfully. Hope you found this helpful, and if you did, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, and let me know if you guys have any questions. Thank you for watching.